Awesome, Ed. So today I wanted to have a quick chat with you around, what's going on, because obviously we're now seeing, we're kind of coming out of the whole isolation, full lockdown uh, scenario, and we're now starting to move towards integrating back into society, but with a lot of changes. And obviously some things are never going to be the same again, but share with us the good news. I'm really excited.
Tomorrow, we touch wood, I'll be hitting 36,000 fans on LinkedIn, which is exciting. I remember when I
Wow.
first got 1,000 fans.
Oh, that's brilliant. What a milestone. And isn't it great when you're building so much momentum on a social media platform that it doesn't even require much people, it just snowballs.
Yeah, it's been incredible. And thank you for being such an active supporter. It's been awesome. And I got to say, I love some of the great stuff you've put out there, Phoebe, on putting videos together and content. Your ideas are amazing.
Thanks, Ed. I don't know if you've heard, but Mark Zuckerberg has literally just released today the fact that Facebook small business owners can now sell their products on Facebook shops. So
Oh,
Facebook
yeah.
has now gone e-commerce.
Well, I suppose Facebook has to. They have to diversify in other areas to keep it moving. But that's exciting. I think Facebook has made some very intelligent moves lately, and I hope they keep doing that. This is great news.
Ed, I'd love to hear your opinion and your thoughts on what do you think is now going to be the new norm when it comes to businesses and how they are operating?
Great question. Now, I have been speaking to some of my friends within the party who are very intelligent people, and these are people that predict elections accurately. Been speaking to those people. And it's interesting. Here's the big thing that really relates to us, especially in the Facebook, LinkedIn sort of sphere, right? The biggest thing that we've got to remember is that the COVID-19 corona has what made the world more digital. So the way I personally see it is COVID sped up online technology by 5 years in the mass population. Because if you think about it, 3 months ago, not everyone knew what Zoom was. Now, if you don't know what Zoom is, it's like, what rocket? Where have you been hiding? So
Yeah.
the whole world is now more intelligent online. They're more sophisticated, and it's added a huge, massive jump to that journey. Now, the reality is that the world will never go back the same way because online has progressed so quickly in such a short space of time.
Absolutely, absolutely. With that progression, it like, because obviously this is an inevitable change, and people are starting to see that it's possible, for example, for employers to have their employees at home and working. People now have a lot more rights to work from home, and we've proven things that can actually be done, and things have sped up, like, in the last 2 months. I think things have sped up probably 10 years, and it's advanced very quickly. So what do you think, like, how do you think we can adapt to this change as business owners?
Yeah, I'll give you an influencer answer, being more influencer persuasion is my domain. From an influencer point of view, where I can speak with complete cred, my answer would be is that because the world is now more online, you can use your top platforms to become influencers. So for example, you are a top Facebook expert. More people are using Facebook for longer than they were 3 months ago, right? Same for LinkedIn, same for TikTok, same for YouTube, same for Twitter, whatever your platform, everyone's into those platforms more. So as influencers, depending on your platform of choice, it gives you that opportunity to really take off. So for example, I was just having a good chat with my wonderful wife, Lassie, just before. And Lassie says hello, by the way, Phoebe.
Oh, hi, Lassie.
Yeah. And anyway, and what we're saying is, and I'll actually use Lassie as an example. Yes, I love her. She's my wife, but taking out all the bias for the moment, pre-corona, Lassie was doing okay on LinkedIn. Post-corona, she is a top global LinkedIn influencer now. She has people she doesn't know writing about her in blogs saying she's a top influencer, people that don't know her.
Mm.
And that came as a result of corona, because as corona kicked in, Lassie brilliantly dived into LinkedIn and really took off. And she's now a top influencer, a top global influencer on LinkedIn. She's done an amazing job. And the thing is that if it wasn't for Corona, that may have happened 2 years later. But with Corona, that happened 2 months later.
Yeah. Things have sped up so fast. And I myself have found that LinkedIn for me has grown so quickly. Unlike any other platform for myself. And I think it's probably also because Corona allowed for more time to be spent at home, right? Because we're not commuting as much. We're saving a lot of time. So spending more time on LinkedIn has actually directly grown my business, which is awesome. And Facebook has always been a big part of my business, and obviously Instagram a really huge part of the brand. But Ed, I'd love to know, how can people become part of a digital entrepreneurship for those that have lost their jobs, or for those that are pivoting their business? How can they become a part of digital entrepreneurship?
Yeah, great question. I'll give three aspects to that. There's probably about a million different ways to answer it, but I'll give you my top three.
No, so
Yeah. The first thing is the business model, right? Like, how does it make money? So for example, as we all know, I'm quite into LinkedIn and also the Teachable platform. So for the sake of the audience, Teachable is one of the world's largest specialty course and membership site platforms. You can, within hours, have your online course already monetized and out the door. And so I'm a big Teachable guy. Teachable is a huge part of what I do. And in the case of Teachable, great company, highly recommended. That is an example of how I've monetized my knowledge in an online fashion. So the first thing I say to people is, you've got to think business model. What are you selling? How are you going to sell it? Now, again, I'm not you're the Facebook expert, not me. You were talking about before. You can now list your products on Facebook. So be it LinkedIn, be it Facebook, be it companies like Teachable or Kajabi or Katra, whatever you're into. You've got to work out the actual business model, the actual mechanics as to how you're going to make money. That's the first thing.
Yeah, great. That's awesome. And for those that don't have a program yet, Ed, like, you've got an awesome online program, and I've gone through your Teachable modules, and you've got so much content out there. What would be the best advice that you could give for someone who, for instance, is now transitioning to online? They might be a dance teacher or a yoga instructor, and they can no longer teach their classes in a face-to-face group environment yet, and they are wanting to start selling or creating an online program. What would you say would be the best steps to get started, and how can they leverage online to continue their businesses?
Great. I'll give two parts to that question. The first thing is, if you're a yoga instructor, you might use Teachable to create your own yoga program. If you're a graphic designer, for example, you might use Teachable to create your own course to teach people graphic design. So you can use a system like Teachable. Now on Teachable, you can sign up for free, and they've got all these free videos you can watch to kick it off. That's the first part of the answer. The second part I'd like to highlight is, start thinking about who your customers are going to be and where they're going to hang out. Because as we all know, it's very important that you select your primary platform. Saying you're going to succeed on all platforms is like saying you're going to get a gold medal in basketball and swimming. It's not going to happen, right? You got to pick your primary sport or platform where you're going to succeed. There's a lot of different options that you have. So I'd look at a program like Teachable, and then check out their free stuff, but also pick your main social media platform and start posting daily content to build yourself as an influencer.
And when it comes to creating content and cutting through the noise, at the moment, people are now starting to really flood the internet, and we're seeing so much stuff out there. How can people stand out online, and what would be your best tips to standing out on LinkedIn?
Yeah, well, talking LinkedIn again, that's the best platform I can talk to. Talking LinkedIn, there's three general parts of advice that we give. Is firstly, your content needs to have value from your professional viewpoint. So for example, if I'm Phoebe Lay, and I'll use you as an example if I may, right? If I'm awesome Phoebe Lay and I'm a Facebook leader and specialist, I would be using LinkedIn to share how to use Facebook, how Facebook works, how you can target consumers. So first thing is, you've got to create great content that has value, okay? So in your case, you would speak about, for example, Facebook, because you're very qualified to talk to that level. That's point one. The second point I'd love to share with you all is that you need to be posting every day on a regular basis. Really good videos and great content. It's also important as well that you support your friends. So you don't just dump content on LinkedIn and then pray to Bill Gates for it to rank well in the algorithm. It doesn't work that way. You like and comment on your friends. They like and comment back. You all support each other. And that brings me to the third point. You need what we call leverage. So a very common example is you run a weekly live webinar, because it's all good to jump on LinkedIn and share daily videos, but you need a sales funnel to bring people together. And we love and recommend weekly live webinars. Huge time saving. You can get heaps of people at once, and it gives you that beautiful sales funnel where you get results. And again, the two main platforms for live webinars are GoToWebinar and Zoom. When it comes to live webinars, we love GoToWebinar. When it comes to running more networking events, we love and use Zoom. So different technologies based on application.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that you're definitely someone that can really speak about that space, because you've used both. And like for me, I used to run a lot of my webinars on GoToWebinar as well. And now I'm transitioning to Zoom. I see both as great platforms. You know, Zoom's very, very easy to use, but obviously there are the glitches there as well. And some people just have preferences towards one or the other, which is fine. But I'd love to know, like, for those that are wanting to find out about how to keep their events interactive, like Ed, you run these on a weekly basis, and I see
2 a week now. 2 a week.
2 a week. There we
2
go.
a week.
That's right. You've got your Monday and your Thursday night ones, in fact.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, how is it that you have kept it going for so long with that many people that attend, and how do you keep everyone so engaged and interactive?
Yeah, and you ask a brilliant question, which you're actually very good at. And I know I'm preaching to the choir on this one, Phoebe. What's very important is that to succeed as an influencer, you have to be entertaining. And when I say the word entertaining, I mean that relative to you. You have to be engaging. You have to be entertaining. You have to really to bring people on camera. And here's one of the big things is that it doesn't matter how correct that you are. If you're not able to really capture and emotionally engage your audience, you're not going to win. So for example, when I run my live webinars, I run it more like a radio talk show where I'm getting questions in real time. I'm not just reading from slides. I'm sort of talking to the audience like I would run a radio show, which I've done before. When I run my networking events, I'm more running it like I would a real world networking event. If I was in the room with 30 people, I'm running my event on Zoom exactly the same way. So it's very important that when you run a webinar, you got to bring people into the action. And that's what it's called. You got to bring your audience into the action. So you're not just lecturing a faceless audience, you're talking to them, you're interacting with them. So for example, when you look at, I'll use Hugh Jackman as a great example, right? Whenever you see Hugh Jackman, Australian actor for people around the world, Wolverine and all that, when you see absolute A stars like Hugh Jackman, even when they're on stage, they actually look at their audience, they bring their audience into the action. So it's about creating a two-way experience that's educational, but also entertaining.
Yeah, fantastic.